If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, or racism, which is white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. If you do not understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you.
Again, you had him on the Breakfast Club, and what did he do? He tap danced around it, and they kiki. Instead of her, and instead of the individuals on the Breakfast Club going back and saying, well, Senator Bernie Sanders, you signed on to a bill to give money to people of the Jewish faith, reparations. But for some strange reason, you say that shouldn't be done for black folks. And then you say distressed communities. Let me explain something to you. Since my ancestors was brought here, and again, for the purposes of the Descendant of Slaves 1619, we are the only ones that they had to pass laws to prevent from being a U.S. citizen. We are the ones who everyone is riding the backs off through the Civil Rights Act. That's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with. That explicitly excluded us from being citizens. The Homestead Act explicitly excluded us from getting some of that land that was given to Europeans. Do you understand that? They had to pass the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments of the Constitution just so the white supremacists that set up this nation can give us just a little bit of breathing room. Now, they always had a little special addendums. 13th said it, but if you be convicted of a crime. Then the 14th, which gave us, citizenship. It was only for us. It wasn't for nobody else. It wasn't for an immigrant. This individual, he's on there talking about distressed communities. We've always been in distressed communities. Got to remember, the United States government set up the fucking what's called ghettos through the FHA when they redlined our communities. See, you saw how he did it? Kamala Harris did the same thing. And I know where it goes from. It goes back from the 1836 gag rule. They said, in no certain terms shall you ever talk about slavery. Now, you can carry that forward. You can say, well, hey, that was repealed. It's the policies that were set in place. Because from 1836 gag rule to the Civil War of 1865, to the first Civil Rights Act for black people of 1866, to all the treaties that they signed with the Native Americans that included us, descendants of slaves, the 1866 Cherokee, Choctaw, and the Freedmen, that was us in that. There was no Mexicans, there was no Guatemalans. So here's a guy who parents, you got to remember, Bernie Sanders, people immigrated to America at the beginning of the 20th century. At the beginning of the 20th century, and he is a goddamn U.S. Senator. He is a U.S. Senator. Do you understand that? He's not drenched in the blood of what went down on this continent here. He's not. Is he better than Trump? I'm not going to say he is or not. But I do understand, in the words of Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is, and how it functions, and all of these things in between, everything else will only confuse you. What he's doing is out there to confuse you. See, he wants the black vote because one thing the Democratic Party know, they don't even have a chance if they don't get the black vote. And they disappoint, and not that they're disappointed, what's the word I want to use? They're there to discombobulate you. And they constantly, how shall I say, what's the word? They use ambiguous terms. That's the word that Dr. Claude Anderson constantly uses. They use ambiguous words. Ms. Neely Fuller talks about, listen to the words and how people structure their words and what they say. And what they say. He's explicit in his meaning. No. But does that mean we have to stop? No. Does that mean we don't educate our children and give our children that game? Because they're going to need it. They're going to need it because we don't have anything. Because as you remember in the last episode I talked about, $68 trillion being passed down. That's not us. We don't even have $1 trillion to pass down. And don't let no one tell you and get on TV and tell you the black buying power. Always remember this. There's no such animal as black buying power. There's no such animal. That's credit cards. Because we don't have it in the bank account because The Federal Reserve already has reiterated there's only like $1.6 trillion in actual physical currency. So how in the world are you going to tell me there's a such thing as a black buying power? See, once again, they're not hiding what they're going to do to us. But we have to stop playing this game with these people. And we do have the demand. We do have the demand. And you can't keep going back to this old guard. You can't keep letting these people use the civil rights movement on you. Because the civil rights movement was already co-opted. Just like that March on Washington was co-opted. It goes back to the meritorious manumission game, where they would use a slave against another slave just to stop you from moving. And they would give that particular slave extra plates of butter biscuits per, Tariq Nasheed. But they would give you your walking papers so you can get off. As long as you snitched on another person and kept them under your foot. Again, Bernie Sanders didn't play. He told you. No, I'm not giving your ass nothing. You ain't getting a dime. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to end the show off, and I want you to just listen to Mr. Bernie Sanders one more time. Because he doesn't lie, he doesn't equivocate. He says, I'm going to make sure that you're going to get shit. But I'm going to make sure I'm taking care of everybody else. I ain't worried about the people in the Appalachians. I ain't worried about them. They ain't worried about me. So here we go.
We're back with Senator Bernie Sanders. Now, the last time you ran, your poll numbers with African Americans were quite low. And you also don't support reparations for slave descendants. Why do you think your poll numbers are low, and why don't you support reparations?
Well, first of all, our poll numbers are not low. I think if you look at polls in the last 6 months, they're quite high among the African American community.
Okay.
And even in 2016, we ended up winning by good margins votes from younger African Americans and Latinos and whites. We did very well among younger African Americans. Look, I happen to believe that at a time of tremendous disparity, the wealth gap, for example, between the white community and the black community is like 10 to 1. Health disparities are terrible. Environmental disparities are terrible. Flint, Michigan comes to mind.
Yeah.
So I think what we have got to do is pay attention to distressed communities, black communities, Latino communities, and white communities all over this country. And as president, I pledge to do that.
Why not support reparations then?
Well, what do you mean by reparations?
By reparations for slave defendants.
I know, but what does that mean exactly?
Money.
Well, I think that right now our job is to address the crises facing the American people and our communities. And I think there are better ways to do that than just writing out a check.
I think there are better ways to do it than just writing out a check. Is there anything else for me to say to you? Is there any other excuse you need to why we need to get away from the Democratic Party? Is there any other thing that you need to further illuminate to you that this party is not there for you? You already know the Republican Party is not there for you. We all need to be part of the independent party and just have no party affiliation, because they're never going to do anything in our interests. Distressed communities, you talking about the Latino community, you talking about the poor white community. We didn't harm them. Those were policies that harmed us from our inception on the bottom of them ships. And once again, you can always reach me at jerraldpresident.info. That's my website. All this information is on there. You can go to all the news articles, all the policy papers. You can see my shows on Facebook, Instagram. Hey, it's jerraldpresident.info. And once again, this is Politics, Economics, the struggle to survive in America. Peace.
Trashman didn't get my trash today. Oh, why? Because they want more pay. Buses on strike want a raise in fare. so they can help